Hello everyone, welcome to Coder and Boots. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the topic how to learn the basics of Linux shell scripting. Okay, so let's understand. So what is a Linux shell? Okay, and what's a shell script? Okay, so before we get into the topic, we need to have a basic understanding of where this shell comes in Linux. Okay, and what is its significance. So the high level architecture of a Linux system is shown in this one. Okay, it looks like a ball, right? A set of circles. So at the center, what you can see is the hardware. Okay, hardware is the computer, the physical computer that you have, and on top of that you have the first layer of Linux, that is the kernel. Okay, any Linux operating system, if you take, it has a kernel in it, and on top of the kernel we have a shell. Okay, so that is a second layer, or above the hardware, or yeah, it's the second layer above the hardware, so that's the shell. So there are shell is basically the interface that acts as like the interface between the user and the kernel. Okay, so there are it's like you have a computer, you have various interfaces to interact with the computer. So one is like you can use mouse, you can use keyboard, you can use microphone, so it has various interfaces. There are touchpad. So similar to that, shell is an interface for you to interact with the kernel. And using shell, in the shell there are various type of shells. Okay, so bash shell is there, corn shell, ksh, csh. So there are different types of shell. Depending upon these shell, there are some slight differences. Okay, so some the look and feel, the commands. Okay, so the interactive experience, so there are slight differences, but ultimately the goal of the shell, okay, every shell is the same. Okay, so the purpose is to interact with the kernel, and the user can interact with the shell using the shell commands. So anyone who uses Linux will be aware of the shell command. So majority of the Linux users, usually people prefer Windows like operating system because of the GUI, but the people who use Linux, they are basically I would call advanced users. So majority of them use the command line interface for interacting with Linux. Very less people use the GUI. So in my scenario also, I always use the black screen. The I don't use the GUI of Linux. So the in Linux means there are various flavors of Linux, like Red Hat, Ubuntu, CentOS. Okay, there are various flavors, but whatever you take, everything has a similar architecture. The commands, or like some, there are some differences between these, but fundamentals are the same. Majority of the command works the same. Okay, so so here we are going to get into more detail about shell. So but for a beginner, so you should have some basic understanding of the shell commands. Okay, so let's see what is a shell script. Okay, shell script is basically a program created using shell command. So anyone who interacts with this Linux, he should know shell commands. Okay, shell command, for example, ls. Okay, ls is a command for listing files and folders in a directory, right? Then cp is for copy, right? Similarly, we have file editors like vi, nano, right? And then cd, change directory. So these are all shell commands. Okay, when it is, what is a command? So command is an instruction to the computer, right? So when you execute that command individually, it is just a command. But if you combine that command, okay, in a sequence for a specific purpose, it becomes a program. Okay, that is what we call the shell script. Okay, so how can you become a shell programmer? So once you learn command, once you have logic, once you build the logic using the sequence of the shell command, it becomes a shell program. And gradually, once you learn, once you advance it to the next level, you can become an expert shell programmer. Okay, but any script which has a shell command in it, it is called a shell script. Okay, so you can start your shell script journey from today itself. It is very easy, it's not very complex. Okay, so now, like how to write a shell script. It's just you just need to know the basics of Linux, the Linux commands. Okay, over a period of time you will become an expert. Okay, so maybe what we can do is we will just explore some of the shell script in internet, then to see how a shell script looks like, and then we will get into some basic shell scripting. So we are going to discuss about bash scripting. Bash is like a popular shell which is present in, or which is widely used by a lot of people in the world, and bash stands for born again shell. Okay, it's kind of a rebirth of the born shell. So there was a shell called born shell, and this bash was like, I mean, the rebirth of the born shell. It was born again shell. Okay, I prefer bash for, I mean, bash shell in all my use cases. Okay, now let's search for shell script GitHub. So let's find some script. Okay, so what we have, so tech r kit, let's see what is inside of this. So this is, there are, I can see like a couple of shell scripts in this. So this is a simple script. Okay, you can see echo, read, echo. Okay, so this is a small one. Let's see whether it has something which is large. Okay, so okay, yeah, I think, I mean, this has something. You see there is an if condition, right? So depending upon the logic, the size of the script will change. Okay, but if you analyze it line by line, okay, it is all some Linux commands. Okay, it's just some Linux commands written in a sequence. And if you see the nature of this, it's like, from, it is getting executed from top to bottom. Okay, so the script gets executed from top to bottom. That means the shell interpreter will read the file, okay, and execute line by line. Okay, that is how it becomes a program. And in all the files at the top, you can see hash exclamatory mark bin bash. Okay, so this is basically the hash and exclamatory mark is called shebang. Okay, so that is shebang, and that is to basically tell or instruct your computer that, okay, so this is a program, okay, and use the specific interpreter. So if you say bin bash, so if you see, let's see what is there in bin bash. Okay, so bin bash, we have something. So this is basically the bash interpreter. Okay, this is a bash shell and bash interpreter. So that means that file will be considered as a shell script, and see, because in Linux everything is file. Okay, you can go and open everything as files. So let's say if I open this, so this app.py, it's a Python program. Okay, but I can just open it as a file. Okay, so if I just do cat that file, it is just listing or printing the content as a text content. Okay, but if I execute the .py extension, if I execute with Python with the .py extension, what will happen? It will be considered as a program, and that's how it is taken, because Python interpreter will read that file as a Python program. Similarly, for in our case, if you have shebang defined for bin bash, what will happen? You don't really need to tell explicitly, or basically you don't need to execute as bash and or sh that particular file. You can just execute directly as an executable. That means, for example, let's say I'm creating, let's create a directory, scripting. Okay, now I'm creating a file test.sh. So in the test.sh, I am creating a simple echo. Echo is basically for printing something. Echo hello everyone. Okay, I'm saving this. So now I have a test.sh. It has an extension test.sh, and then if I try to execute test.sh, what will happen? First of all, it is showing permission denied. Okay, so why it is permission denied? Let's see what is the permission associated with this. So you can see it has read, write, read, write, read. Okay, so but the problem is I am trying to execute this, right? So this first three characters over here, that denotes the user's permission, right? So no, not first three, the second onwards, like, I mean, skip the first one. That tells us, I mean, whether it is a directory or a file. If there is a D, that means it's a directory. If there is nothing, it is just a file, right? So if you see this, read write is there, execute is not there. Okay, read write, that is, this is for the user, this is for the group, and this is for the others. Okay, so in our case the user is CIB, and for CIB execute is not there. So what we have to do, plus x, okay, or we can say u plus x, user plus execute, means give execute permission to the user. Okay, now let's see what happens here. Here we have now read write, execute is there, previously it was just read write. Now it is executable. Let's see what happens here. Test.sh. Now it told it is doing hello everyone.sh. Okay, so it identified, but usually as a best practice we always keep hash exclamatory slash bin slash bash. Okay, so this will help the system or the interpreter to identify, okay, this is a shell script. So always keep this instead of like a shell script. Let's say if you're writing a Python program, we usually keep slash hash exclamatory, and then we give like the path to the Python interpreter. Okay, so it's not just to shell script, we give it for Python or any other, whatever, Ruby, Perl, whatever you're writing, or Java. So whatever programming language you're writing, you keep this Shebang over there. Okay, so not for Java. Java is not a scripting language, but anything that is scripting. Okay, so there we use this. So this right now, if you see, whatever we have is a shell script. Okay, so the number of lines doesn't matter. We have the program within a file. It's a shell script. Now let's put sleep. Sleep is the command to sleep. Okay, sleep one for 1 second. Echo what I'm doing, hello after sleep. Okay, so I made this program sleep. Now test.sh, you see hello everyone, hello after sleep. Okay, this is like it is not immediate, it waited for 1 second, then after that it printed hello after sleep. Now let's take the scenario where I need to read something from the end user. So you might have seen like script asking for a confirmation yes or no, right? So let's do something like read. Okay, read is a shell command. Whatever I am typing here, it's all shell commands. Okay, so let's say here itself sleep 1, right? I can type here. That means the cursor is returning after 1 second. Sleep 2, the cursor returns after 2 seconds. Sleep 3, if I put, the cursor returns after 3 seconds. Okay, sleep goes in this way, right? So similarly, let's say if I am adding now I want to what I want to do is I want to use a command read. So let's see what is the description of the read command. So anything that you need to understand in Linux, you can do use man, the command name. Okay, it gives a lot of documentation, and if you feel it is too much for you, what you can do is you can just do the command read -- help. Okay, it gives some in a simpler form. Okay, so you can see read is a read a line from a standard input and split it into fields. Okay, so the options what we have -p prompt, timeout. Okay, so many things are there. So what we'll do is we will use read for reading a variable. Okay, so what I'm going to do is in the shell script I'll put read -p your full name. Okay, then what I'm going to do is this is like asking someone enter your full name. Okay, the value gets assigned to this variable full name. Now let's see sleep 2. Okay, echo, I'm just doing some echoing. Okay, and then sleep 1. Okay, then echo, I'm just doing dollar name. Okay, so what will happen here? So echo dollar full name. Now let's say this. So what will happen here? First hello everyone will print sleep 1 second, hello after sleep, then enter your full name, the value gets assigned to full name, then sleep again for 2 seconds, echo, just print all these dots, sleep for 1 second, printing the full name. Let's see what happens, whether it works or not. Test.sh. Okay, now it's asking for enter full name. My in boots. Okay, now it will wait for 2 seconds, 1 second. Now it printed Coder in boots. That means the full name is the variable that got the value. So full name is a variable, right? Now what I'm going to do is I want to print this with some text. Your name is full name, right? Let's see what happens with this. Let's see. You see, your name is Coder in boots. Okay. Now, let's say in some scenarios, you wanted to accept some arguments from the shell script during runtime. Okay. For example, test.sh. Okay. So then I want to say, okay, coder. Okay, I want to pass this argument. Right now we are not using this argument anywhere in this shell script, so it won't consider it. Okay, so I just put cib, so it will simply ignore and it will just print whatever it is. Okay, now what I'm going to do is in the test.sh itself, okay, I'm going to add something called echo and hello Mr. Okay, then $1. Okay, let's add a positional argument $1. Okay, let's see. So dot test coder. Okay, hello everyone. It asks for full name, cib added, echo. It'll just print. You see, your name is cib. Hello, Mr. Coder. The coder came from here. Okay, so that means, so let's see, we have used $1 over there, right? Instead of $1, let's use $0. Let's see what happens. Okay, so coder B okay, hello Mr. dot slash test dot sh. That means the first parameter is basically the script itself, right? Whatever we have dot slash test dot sh, that is the first parameter. So the argument, whatever argument we are passing, that is the $1, the first one. 0 is the script itself, first one is the argument. So here what we can do is 1 and echo hello Mr. $2. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Dot slash test coder master. I am passing 2 arguments. Okay, cib, you can see your name is cib, hello Mr. Coder, that is $1, hello Mr. Master, that is $2. Okay, now you see our script is going further, right? Now let's execute a command, just a simple command ls. Okay, let's see how we can take the value out from there. So I'm just doing ls here. Okay, ls hyphen oal, right? Ls, I'm just doing ls. Let's see what happens with this ls here. So test such coder master. Okay, hello everyone, cib. Okay, so after master it did ls, it just printed the things directly on the screen. Right now if you do ls, I have only one script over here, that's why it is. So touch F1 touch is like a command to just create a file. Okay, f2.txt. So I've created, so now the ls will have 3 files, right? Now let's see what will happen if you execute this cib. You see it gets printed, and after that it prints the file, all the files in this folder. Now instead of just executing that ls, I want to take the value of that ls to a variable. How can we do that? Let's see that. Test.sh. Now instead of doing this ls directly over there, I want to take my, so files equal to, files is my variable. Okay, files equal to, there is something called backtick. Okay, so that is the that will be there on the key before your number 1 in the keyboard. So what will happen is, if you're using backtick, okay, so whatever you put inside that, it gets executed as a command. Okay, so files equal to ls. Okay, so files equal to ls, that means it will execute the value of ls and store the value in files. Okay, then now echo files. Okay, now dollar files. Now let's see what happens. Hello everyone, cib. Okay, now you see echo the files f1.txt, f2.txt, test.sh. That means, so the files here, if you see the files, the value of the files got the value of the executed command ls. Because of this backtick, it's not quotes, it is backtick, and because of this command within backtick, it executed this and stored the value inside the files variable, and I just used the files over here. Okay, similarly I can use some other command. Okay, instead of ls, I can use system details. Okay, equal to, what I can do, uname, right, -a. Okay, so next I can do echo dollar system details. What I'll do is, I'll put it in quotes, put this. Okay, now let's see how it runs. Hello everyone, cib. Oh sorry, I think I didn't pass the argument, so it won't print anything over there. See, files, file f2, then after that system details, Linux, Ubuntu, all these things came. Okay, now if you see our shell script, let me clear the screen, cat test.sh. You can see our script has grown to these many lines. So like this, if you combine your commands, shell commands, okay, and there are looping statements, conditional control statements, all those things are there in shell script as well, but those are like, simple things. But if you combine or chain your shell commands in a programmatic way, it will become your shell script. Okay, so in this way it's very easy, it's not very complex. You can become a shell programmer very quickly. I'll take detailed session of, or advanced session of the shell script, but I hope this introductory session is useful. If you have any questions, comments, feedbacks, feel free to comment below this video. I'll definitely respond back. Thank you very much for watching this video. Have a nice day.